ladies and gentlemen, is football.
Yes! That's what the fans came to see.
Here's Thompson, surrounded. Archie Thompson, still going. It's Thompson, and it's gone in. Archie Thompson, exquisite quality.
What a fabulous game of football this has been.
Aloisi straight forward, it's opened up for him. Aloisi! Is that the goal that clinches the Premier's place? He's missed. Would you believe it? Sydney FC are the champions.
And now he's got a chance, though. It's worked out just fine for Alessandro Del Piero.
And here's Berisha! Creates history by scoring the third grand final. Dreams have come true in Sky Blue. This has got to be the last chance. Mizies, oh, it's an own goal! Would you believe it? Tony's had no right to get through there, really. O'Neill giving chase forlornly. Still Terry Antonis! The villain turned hero in navy blue.
First big blue of the season coming up this weekend. Really looking forward to it and chopping up with these blokes on Total A-Leagues. I'm Vince Rugari. I don't think that's changed recently. Tommy Oar. This has changed, though.
It has. He's back.
Yes. I've done a lot of listening over the last month on jury duty, so I'm ready to talk, so look out.
Good to have you back, mate. So obviously no last round to look back on. So let's just launch straight into probably what's top of all of our minds at the moment. I know we had a good long chat in the green room earlier about the Socceroos window just completed. Yesterday we had the 3-0 defeat to Colombia, which was, disappointing. I think, at least speaking for myself, like your head's pretty hot after a game like that. And it was, for me, tempered a little bit by the revelation there was a virus going through the camp. But Macca, there's probably some trend lines there, I guess you could say, in terms of the way that Pop has got this team set up and the lack of defensive teeth, I guess you could say, going forward.
Yeah, look, Popper has his ways, and look, a lot of talk about the pragmatic approach that he takes to these games, and the lot of changes that he brought into this, and him talking about how he wants to look at a lot of players. There's been a lot of players coming through. We've seen A-League players come through. Kai Truan, who I rate really highly. I think he's going to be a great player this year again in the A-League. But he got another start. His second of the two games. Was I against Colombia? I was thought, well, it's a team full of real quality players. They're a top quality team. I understand that approach going into a World Cup, that when you're going to play those guys, you're going to have to be pragmatic. I guess off the back of the other game, which we'll talk in a moment about Venezuela, I think we could have had a different outlook if we approached that game differently.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that it's hard not to assess yesterday without looking, through the context of the game against Venezuela, where we saw a lot of A-League players get a chance in that game. Obviously, like Craig Goodwin came in, Kai Truan, Patrick Beach was outstanding. He did his chances absolutely no harm. But I think, in that first game that we really weren't proactive enough. We kind of allowed that opposition to take the game to us, and the hope was in the Colombia game that we'd be able to turn that around. But we had only managed one touch in the opposition box against Colombia, and obviously they're a world-class side, but I think before this window, if you said we were going to lose 2 games and weren't going to score a goal, you would be disappointed.
Yeah, 100%. Very much so. Patrick Beach, no doubt the highlight, boys. I vaguely recall saying on this show, was it last season, late or early this, that, who is the next goalkeeper who's putting their hand up? Who's the next Matty Ryan that's coming through the league and then the national team? When you think about Paul Izzo, has done really well for the Socceroos so far since Popper's come in, but a little bit of a shocker for the second goal yesterday. It's possibly neck and neck, do you think, between him and Beach? I mean, one game for Beach, but what a game on debut for that number 2 spot, that is.
I think with Popper, it takes a while for you to earn his trust. So I don't think Beach is there yet. But if you look at the last month that Patrick Beach has had, that game in the ACL, obviously a huge performance in the Melbourne Derby, followed by that performance for the Socceroos, his stocks are rising by the week. So if he continues this form, I think he's going to be too kind of good to forget, and his timing, he's run perfectly, but at the same time, a lot can change in 6 months.
Well, that's the thing. If he has a great season, and as you say, that form continues, you'd have to think he is a bolter because he has been exceptional. I just want to have a quick chat about the World Cup space, all right? So if we're going into the World Cup and potentially could be in pot 2 or pot 3, in your group, there is one team that you say, we are the big boys against you and we have to go. And I thought Venezuela was a perfect opportunity for us to stamp our foot in that space. They had an interim coach who wasn't there because he was away, so they had an interim assistant coach.
Yeah.
They had 20 players in their squad, Venezuela, that had played 2 games or less for their country, and I think over 10 of them hadn't played a game for their country. That was a chance for us to be the dominant person, say, we're getting 3 points off you if this was the group stage in the World Cup. That's where we get our 3 points, and then we might be a little bit more pragmatic against others. Popper said, why can't we go deep in this World Cup? Because we've got to do it eventually. I think that's when you've got to step up some games and go, that's our opposition. We're going to put our foot on your throat and not give them the confidence to grow into the game, which I think we did against Venezuela.
And I think the context of this is when Popper took over, we were losing against opposition we should be beating, and he steadied the ship fantastically. But taking that next step is what you're saying. We haven't been able to do that. And I think that even the games we won against Japan, obviously the game where Behich scored the late goal, it was a similar story. I think that this has been a bit of a theme throughout his time in charge, and it's something we're going to have to fix quickly.
Yeah, I agree. To be honest, Australian teams generally, with probably the sole exception of Ange Postecoglou's tenure, never enjoy or look comfortable being the protagonist in a game, which is a word they use a lot in European football, which I love, and it sums it up because I want to see us be the protagonists more often. I feel like we've got the players who are capable of doing it. And like you say, look, Popper said, I think after the Venezuela game, that part of the process that he's trying to undertake is exposing guys to international football, which is different, and it's not so easy to just put them in there and expect them to dominate a game, etc. And I get all that. But then all the stuff that you raised, Mac, around the Venezuela squad, it makes you think, well, that can only be right a little bit, because how can Venezuela rock up and do that?
Yeah, because we allowed them.
Yeah.
But we're ranked 25th in the world. Oh, it might be 26 now after this. But we're 25th in the world. We're not 125th.
Yeah, that's right.
There's going to be a time where we go, do you know what? We aren't the minnows.
Yeah.
We back ourselves. We've got players now coming through in some of these leagues in Europe where are we sort of seeing a second golden generation come through? We can call them the platinum generation maybe, if they're going to be better. But there's got to be a point where you go, we are good enough, and we are going to take it to you. And okay, I know we talk about Ange and he was all one way, and now it seems Popper's all the other way. There's got to be a happy medium where we go, we can do this. You aren't going to beat us today because we're 25th in the world and we're taking 3 points.
Yep. Back on Patrick Beach, let's hear a little bit from him after his debut.
I'm over the moon. I'm so excited. This has been a dream since when I was a little boy, and just to be out here tonight and soak it all in, and I don't have any words. It's the best feeling ever.
Great stuff. Really excited to see where he goes, boys. Just quickly, so starting against Venezuela, I think, against Colombia we only had Kai Truhan, who was spoken about. Against Venezuela, Truhan as well. Paul Ocon, Engsler, Craig Goodwin started. Alassan Toué off the bench. I thought Toure was pretty good. Showed some life off the bench. Craig Goodwin in that wide left back role, I think that was a failed experiment. I think that the time to do that was probably 5 years ago. Ocon, decent, to be honest.
Yeah. I think he's a good player, and yes, he's only played four times for Sydney FC, but you speak to anyone who's worked with him in these national youth team camps as well, and they say this guy is a player. And you can already see for Sydney FC, he is taking control of that central midfield in there. He's good on the ball. And I think they see him as a generational player where he will be one of these guys who goes and gets 80 to 90 caps for his country. They see him that highly that they want to get him in and start getting him into that process.
And I think, looking at the other two, Kai Truhan and Craig Goodwin, their performance in the first game, when you've been, for Kai Truhan's instance, his first ever game, it's not easy going into a team that's not playing well. Sometimes if the team's humming along nicely and you just slot into one of the positions, it's easy to kind of make that transition. But it just so happened that their game coincided with probably the worst Socceroos performance in Popovic's era. So it's always difficult to look good. So I think there's still a place maybe for Craig Goodwin to play that role, but the team's kind of approach has to be very different.
Yeah. So 4 months now until the Socceroos' next game, which means a long period of time for players in the A-League to try and impress Tony Popovic and make their claims. We've got a bit of a depth chart here of national team talent in the domestic league at the moment. And boys, what do you think? Anyone here that we haven't discussed that you think could potentially pop up in Popper's squad in March or beyond that?
Well, it's obviously casted it pretty wide with this list, but I think Max Caputo is one where I think in the front third there's still room for manoeuvre in Popovic's thinking and in the Socceroos squad. I think that obviously Mo Toure, he's done really well, Iron Kunda as well, but I think that there's still some spots up for grabs, and I think if Max Caputo continues his A-League form, he has to be in the discussion.
I think as well, when you look at the quality and depth we have in centre-back positions of players who have been in that area, you've got Sutar to come back as well. Yeah. I think you are going to see that it's going to be more in those forward positions where probably someone who's not even on this list that will go boom, and all of a sudden they'll score 10, 15 goals and be like, oh, there's the bolter that we all thought about. But I think you'll see more chance in that creative front third area for someone who really has an exceptional season.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with you, Tommy. Popper's reaction when Max Caputo got raised a few weeks ago, he sort of laughed it off. I think he's going to be hard-pressed to get in before the World Cup, but I think he should almost be looked at, maybe not quite in the same light as Ocon Jr., but sort of identified as one that, okay, come the next cycle, the start of the next cycle, this is someone we really need to integrate, and a good alternate option to Mo Toure, who I think is a sensational talent, but we've got maybe two there that we want to develop.
And you need contrasting styles in a World Cup squad because you're going to come up against different opposition, different problems. You don't want all the same player. So even if you're trying to change a game, what's the point of bringing on someone with the same profile? And I think with Caputo, he does bring something a little bit different. I think the way he moves in the box, he's a very instinctive striker, which is not something that we have in the squad at the moment. I think we've got a lot of mobile players who like to run in behind, like to dribble, but nobody is instinctive, as I would say, as Caputo.
Big shout out as well to Graham Arnold and Rob Stanton, two former A-League coaches who are driving a pretty special achievement in football to get Iraq to the March Intercontinental Playoffs for the World Cup, boys. How good. Arnie loves this stuff, man, and he's really good at it.
Yeah, he is.
I think he thrives in the backs against the wall kind of mentality. I know years ago he used to instill that at us at the Mariners. It's us against the world, and I think he's probably gone in there and said that to Iraq as well. I really like the fact that when they did qualify, everyone was jumping on him, and you could see him getting angry because he was like, and I messaged him and said, they were about to blow my knees out. They need to get up. But he said it was a great, amazing atmosphere in the stadium, and they're the scenes you want to see.
And to see two, A-League coaches or two coaches who cut their teeth from the A-League in a World Cup, what a sight that would be.
Yeah, good on Robbie Stanton as well, mate. The hands that built Australia are now building Iraq, which is fantastic. All right, let's rip into the Big Blue, boys. Really important game, probably more so for Melbourne Victory than Sydney. Sydney seem to be going along pretty nicely, and we'll come to them in a moment. But, Maka, how would you have spent the international break if you're Nikos Virgos?
Repetition would be my key. I would be grabbing the likes of wingers coming in, saying after every session I would be doing crossing, finishing, little balls through, finishing, and I would be asking the gaffer to be making small-sided games where I'm going to get into those positions quite a lot to be around the edge of the goal. Now, that's one way that you can get your confidence back, but it's going to take a goal in a game, really, for him to really get that back. It weighs on your mind as a striker. Is it 13 games now without a goal? It does weigh on your mind, and all the training you can do and all the stuff you can do in training can get you to that mindset of, okay, I'm in a good mood in the box, but he's got to get one in a game.
I think if you look at the last game, he was obviously dragged quite early in that game in the Melbourne Derby because you can tell that it's not only the goals, it's affecting the rest of his performance. I think in the last game he was very flat. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see if Dilla sticks with him in this game because, I think that he didn't really do enough in the last game off the ball to warrant his position. So I think the pressure really is on him. But from Victory more largely, I think their last performance was actually quite good. I think they got into good positions. They were wasteful in front of goal for sure. But I think if they play like that week in, week out, they'll win more games than they'll lose. So I think the overall performance, it's easy to get caught up in the hysteria of, their run of losses or their form. But I think overall that last performance did kind of give me belief that they are heading in the right direction. So I think they will take a little bit of confidence.
It's a dilemma for Dillers, I think, with Virgos, because you either play him and you risk seeing more of what you've seen, or you don't play him and you probably kill his confidence even more, I'd say.
Yeah, and you have the idea that, he's a foreign player, so you just come here to play. The club's backed them into he's got to play. But then you also then go back to the decision of not keeping a Bruno Fornaro, a proven goal scorer. So when you look at who's going to come in instead, you don't look at anyone and go, well, there's plenty of goals in their career, or they're a 20-goal-a-season player. If you had Bruno, even though he might be there every week going, put me in, that's what you want. You need someone to be pushing, that you throw him in and he might score a goal, or probably will with the track record, and you don't see that. So you've got to question their inability, the club of that size, to have a second 9 who is potentially the one to take over that role.
What are you doing this weekend then? Or what do you think is going to happen here with Virgos?
I'm hearing little whispers that Virgos won't play.
Yep.
And then that begs the question, well, what do they do? Who's going in there? You've got Jing Reese, I know, but hasn't got many goals under his belt.
Veluplay needs to come back quickly.
Yes.
that's the feeling.
Yeah.
Agree. The Sydney FC side of things, a little bit brighter, boys. Rocky first game, I guess, of the season. A bit of pressure under Uffy coming into this whole campaign, obviously. But what's going so right for them recently? Like, what has changed that makes you feel, I think as we all do, a little bit more comfortable about the general balance that they have?
Well, I think the first game against Adelaide, there was very much similar to how they finished last season. I think everybody thought, oh, here we go again. But from that point, I think that the way they've managed to kind of get Joe Lolly into the game, involved in all the things, and we know if he's going to get the ball lots of times in the front third, you have every chance to score goals. And that's kind of what they've done. The whole game plan has been revolved around getting their best players the ball in good positions as many times as possible. And I think that you have to give Uffy a lot of credit for turning that around, because he stuck to his guns. He kept the same lineup despite their poor start, and I think it's paid dividends. Well,
I spoke to Uffy after the last game, and he said before they started the season, Kispe, I think, had played 30 minutes. Tisseron had only played 60 minutes because they were late coming in and there was little problems. He said we just need time to gel, and I think that first game got the rustiness out.
Yeah.
There's a real good balance across the squad. Tisseron at the back with Grant in the middle is 2 senior heads who really can control the area. You can see Tisseron really reads the game well. You've got 2 young guys who are proving a point in midfield who are mobile.
Yep.
Now, Leo Senna last year was great on the ball. Off the ball, without the ball, he was an absolute liability, couldn't move. And then you've got Joe Lolly, who can now go back to being on the right wing, expressing himself. You've got the technical him on that side. You've got Hassan Toure with pace and power on the other side. All of a sudden, and that's not even talking about Capitano and Kispe with the technical ability there and their movement. It looks like a really good, balanced team with people in the right areas. He's gone, and we'll talk about formations and going to get players for certain way you want to play. I think they've nailed it, particularly with this first 11. They've nailed their recruitment and got it right.
And it's going to be interesting this weekend as well, because obviously international window, Ocon and Toure coming back late in the piece. I think in Toure's case, if he's not fit enough to start this game, Wallity is an able replacement, a pretty like for like in terms of profile. But
Ocon's harder to replace.
I think that's right, and especially because he's so influential in being that pivot, and they can play the ball into him, and he'll progress the attack, and he's very safe, very comfortable on the ball. I'm not sure if they have that profile in the squad to replace him. So I think that it'll be interesting to see whether they throw him in despite the short turnaround.
Yeah. So on to Adelaide United, who also have an opportunity when you consider, as we've mentioned a couple of times already, Melbourne City have some blokes coming back from international duty that will come in late. Then they have the Friday night game at Highmarsh Stadium, so it's even tougher for them. Maybe you can imagine Patrick Beach playing, considering he didn't play against Colombia, and as a goalkeeper, I suppose it's a little bit easier to do that than as an outfield player. But Macca, what do you think of, I guess, the opportunity in front of them, but also the way that Adelaide have started the season?
I've been impressed, to be honest. We thought they might be one of these teams. There was a lot of change, obviously, coach going out, not many players coming in the way of signings. But as we know with Adelaide, they just pull on the old factory door, don't they? Come on, give us a few young kids. But their actual starting team is pretty strong in my mind. This man, Craig Goodwin, obviously is a big boost. Now, how's he going to pull up after the Socceroos trip as well is a big question.
It's harder the older you get, doesn't it?
Exactly right. But I think it's a big question for Adelaide. This will be a big question because I think everybody thinks that City's going to be there or thereabouts at the end. Yep. They're the best defensive team in the league. This is a time for them to go, well...
It's a statement.
Yeah. basically to say you wrote us off, but we're here and we are contenders.
And Adelaide has a fantastic record against City at Coopers, it has to be said. I think that City hasn't won there, it was something like 2,500 days since City last won at Coopers, which is incredible when you think about it. So they're going to go into this game knowing that if they play with the same intensity they have so far at home this season, they're every chance.
Yeah. One player who has played every game so far for Adelaide United this season is Luke Duzel. Here's his coach, Ayrton Andrioli, talking about him.
An absolutely fantastic footballer. I don't think we have many players in this league here that can play the football, execute things the way he does. I've got a lot of time for Luke Duzel. He played a lot of games with me in the NPL. People used to question a little bit his personality, his ability to finish games off, and when things get tough doing that. And to me today, it's no surprise to me. I really believe in him, and I struggle to understand why a player of his caliber, with his attributes, cannot be a top player in the A-League. So, and I'm hoping that he's going to continue like that.
Strong stuff from Ayrton Andrioli. You can watch the full feature on Adelaide United's YouTube page. In the meantime, finally, the Tactician is back. The Mactician, the Magician, Daniel McBreen.
Yes.
What do you got for us this week, mate?
Well, just thinking about the complete change of Wellington Phoenix from last season to this season. Normally you might see that with a new coach, but Chiefy's gone and said, no, we need to change things up. He's gone from sitting almost all players in the box to everyone in the opposition's half. So we're going to have a look at how teams potentially can beat that high line, and we saw Auckland do it against them last time out, and how it can be positive and negative. So if we have a look here, you can see the ball is back here in the field. Look at the Wellington line, all at halfway. Here's Cosgrove. Look at him. He's 10 metres offside. He doesn't need to be anywhere in this area because he's not the player that's going to receive the ball. Now, for the line to actually work, there has to be pressure on the ball. When there's no pressure on the ball like here, not enough pressure, as you let that ball go, as we let the vision go, watch this ball go over the top. Now watch Cosgrove. Doesn't even want to be a part of it, runs around, and we're in behind, and he holds his run up and a simple tap in. That's an easy way, if there's no pressure on the ball, for a team to break that line, Tommy.
And Macca, it's all about the timing of that run, because we saw in earlier rounds, I think the Mariners were particularly guilty of it. It's very easy to be offside because normally you're expecting the defenders to maybe be 5 or 10 metres deeper. But we saw the timing of Jesse Randall's runs and the balls from De Vries in behind in that game in particular. I mean, Wellington had no answer because they were pushing up their line, that Randall was expecting it and timed his run. He was in his own half when that ball was played, and you have to give Auckland a lot of credit for that.
And if it wasn't Cosgrove, there was someone else there on the back post, so he could have passed it again, and they had guys in position as well.
Yeah.
So when this high line works, to me it seems like it really works, but when it doesn't, it really, really doesn't.
Yeah, if you don't get it right further up, the high line is to squeeze the play and put pressure on the opposition. When you don't get that pressure, you can be exposed. Yep. Now, we've seen this before in the A-League as well. If we wind back the clock a long time ago against an old adversary of mine who was a coach, he used to always seem to get the one of us. Go back to Ange Postecoglou. Now, this is Besart Berisha here. Okay, now look at him. You can see the defender here pointing, going to his teammates. There's a guy coming. He's in an offside position. I can't go. In here, you've got two high midfielders. So the two centre backs, they're thinking, well, do we drop? Do we step in? And it's causing confusion. Now, this offside player, again, Berisha did this so well. Watch as the ball goes. Now, because they didn't step in there, now there's danger. Berisha still offside, he's got the edge, he's gone, and once that ball comes in, there's not much you can do to do it. He scored so many goals from that position back in the day, and it is so hard to defend, again, if you don't get pressure on the ball with a player in the opposition half.
Absolutely. I think the key to all these, the theme for Auckland in the first video and Brisbane in this one is they have also a threat running in behind and also people coming to feet. And when you do both of them and the timing is right, it's so difficult to defend. And I think that that's going to be the thing that Wellington has struggled with this season with this approach, is balancing when do we go to the ball and when do we retreat. And I think that you've seen that's how it can become exposed quite easily.
Yeah. Ange got even better at this stuff as well, by the way, after Brisbane Roar. I remember, and we're about to see an example of this, but doing the book, I was looking at the stats for Melbourne Victory and how they scored their goals in the one full season that he had. And they were almost all like what we're about to see.
Yeah, exactly right. And I remember we used to constantly look and say that this is the big danger. And it was always on the near side, must be pressure on the ball. But we see again. Now, Archie Thompson, he's on the far side here. Only in a slightly offside position, probably maybe even onside. But again, look in these areas here. 2 players central, holding those centre backs in here. Probably not enough pressure on the ball. And as we let it roll again, you got a fast player on the other side of Rojas who can get in behind quickly. Look at Archie, off like a flash. Can't move as quick these days, but he could back then. And again, it's a simple play. Ball in behind, quick player to another quick player who's in an offside position, and they reap the rewards. And it's an easy, simple way to break through a backline again, but that can be rectified if your pressure is good. It can be a real fraught with danger proposition to have that line so high.
Absolutely. I think that teams that do the high line really well, they're constantly evaluating, you're constantly moving up and back. It's adaptive. And I think that it's a fluid situation. It doesn't work if you say we play a high line and you start charging forward without an appreciation for what's happening in front of you, because you constantly as a defender need to assess the threat and what's the most likely avenue to goal. And I think that's something that Wellington struggled with so far this season. They're pushing up at the wrong times. When the ball goes backwards or a team passes it back to the goalkeeper, they can get up. But I think they're going up, as you said before, when there was no pressure on the ball, that one ball in behind and they're becoming exposed. So that's something that Chiefy's going to have to work on.
Yeah, agree. Thanks, Marco. Well done. One take.
Good to be back.
Pop that, Alex Bross. There you go. Happy days. Very good. Well, let's have a look ahead at the fixtures coming up this weekend in round 5. There's some tasty ones. We've talked a lot about most of them so far. One we haven't is the Sunday match at Go Media Stadium between Auckland and Brisbane Roar. I tell you what, boys, bit going on here.
There is.
They've got the saxophone man back. That was apparently very popular across the ditch. A bit of social media activity and chatter on the back of that. The Port are trying to get everyone to bring their scarves and hold them high at a particular moment in the game. And then they've got $59 family bundles as well for this Brisbane Roar game and the Newcastle Jets game coming up after that. So, like I said, a fair bit to it.
The game will be good too. Two teams that are built on aggression, physicality, but also sprinkled with some really good technical players as well.
And Auckland obviously coming off an international window, 2 red cards last game, Brimmer injury question mark. I think it's a good time to play Auckland.
Yeah. It'll be a great watch from the vertical bungee. I wonder if you can actually just get a good sight line and just good on them. It's good to see.
It's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we are going to see a little bit of a mini feature on Alassan Toure, who went from being a ball boy at Adelaide United games to just this past few days becoming a capped Socceroo.
I was a ball boy. It was at High March Stadium. All I remember was Casio, because I remember being on the sideline and a ball came towards me. I think there was a foul or something going on, and he asked for my drink bottle that I had, and he drank from it. And when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'm never going to lose this drink bottle.
Try one, Casio. Now it's Geronimo Casio! The pocket rocket in his 100th match have given Adelaide United the lead.
I think that was one of the first memories, and also going to watch T-Boy Kamara. I was there when he played his first game. Proud moment because my dad knew him, my dad taught him. Knowing he came from my community, being Liberian, he was known in the community as a good player. And when we went to watch him, he was more like an idol because he came from the same place I came from, and I was looking at him like, yeah, I want to be here too, And then other players came, like A.Y. Mobile.
It's our Mobile, and he scores!
Just seeing them play, it was just motivating to me, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I have a chance here. Seeing familiar faces in the league.
The Reds had a starting debut, 19-year-old Hassan Toure in attack.
A-League debut was against Sydney. I don't remember the score, but I know I scored.
In the first half, and Toure's onside here. Hassan Toure! All square at Cooper's. And the youngster scores on his A-League debut. Remember the name. He's a real star in the making.
Seeing my friends and family in the stadium was the best thing ever, because it was like I said, it was my first season as a professional, and I didn't think I would be playing there as quick as I did. So yeah, it was awesome.
Bit of a flashback there, boys. T-Boy Kamara, I remember watching that game. The Toure family, the African-Australian community that's coming through Adelaide United is I think already is having a massive influence on the Socceroos and Australian football more broadly.
100%, and we're more good for it.
Yeah,
and they just keep producing them, don't they?
Yeah, it's true.
So good. Nalene, you're back, bro.
Back,
What do you
never
got
left.
I thought last week was, I'm kind of still laughing about some of the stuff we got into. So
Well-
I'm excited to see what you got for us this week.
There's a bit of that happening today as well with Mac being back as well. How about the rhymes happening? Just about Alassan Toué, we heard him speak about his start as a ball boy, and Tommy, off air, we were discussing your early days at a pretty major competition as well.
Yeah, Sydney 2000 Olympics. I think there was some games at the Gabba in Brisbane, and Ronaldinho, I think Brazil had a game there, and I was ball boy for that one, and one or two others as well, which I can't remember. I think there was a Cameroon game as well. No, great memories, and yeah, I guess to be on that stage and be on the field, even though you wasn't playing, but just to be kind of involved was eye-opening, and I still remember it very clearly.
Well, yours beats mine. I was a ball boy for Cardiff Tigers in Newcastle, First Division, for a pie and a Coke. I don't remember any of the players'
Sounds pretty
names.
good.
Yeah, it was epic.
Alrighty, now with the OG Total A-Leagues crew here today, we thought we'd revisit your pre-season predictions, and if you forgot what they were, here's a little reminder.
To finish off, lads, our predictions for the season ahead. We'll start with your pick for premiers, so top of the ladder. Mine is Auckland. Tommy?
I'm going to say Melbourne Victory.
Okay.
City.
Johnny Warren medalist.
Mine's Matt Leckie.
Tommy poo-pooed mine off air. I thought that Kai Truan could get it. I think he's going to have a massive year for City.
I want this to happen, and I think it's a really good chance. Nishan Valupale. Finally, the golden boot this season, Costa Barbarouses.
He's actually my pick as well.
I think Sam Cosgrove from Auckland. I think they're going to be a force this year, as we've already said.
Well, some of those.
Aged like milk in my case.
Say, bro. Well,
Hi, guys.
Guess what? You got a chance to redeem
Yeah.
yourself here. We're going to do a little buy, hold, or sell, starting off with the premiers. Both of your options are looking okay.
hold.
Yeah.
Hold.
Yeah, I'm staying.
Tommy.
Yeah, I don't think Victory is going to be winning the premiership, but I think they can still make late run in the finals if
That
they get
wasn't
in
the
the
question.
sixth.
Yeah.
Whoa, that
Selling.
wasn't the question.
I'm selling. I'm sorry. I'm selling.
Who's coming in?
I think Melbourne City. That's my pick.
On the bandwagon, mate.
Yeah.
Welcome along.
Vince, Johnny, Warren medalist. I'll give you a chance here. Do you want to hold with Nishan Valupale? You're just hoping he has a hell of a season when he comes back, or what's going on there?
Sell.
Sell?
Just because he hasn't played yet, and I'm not confident on the back of that he can rack up enough votes. So, sorry, Nish. Yeah, I'm selling.
He's coming in.
That's a great question. Haven't thought that far ahead. Joe Ollie?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not bad.
that's
not
mine.
bad.
That's like
I'm-
a safe, you know.
Yeah. If I could change my decision,
You
it would
can.
be to.
You literally can.
Well, I'm
That's the point
changing.
of this
How many,
Joe
show.
how many can you change? Surely you can't change everything. You've got to make him keep one. Punish him.
Go on. See.
Nah, Joe Lolly is
Lolly.
mine. Yeah.
You're sticking with Kai Truan?
I am. He's going to play as a 6 because when Supreme comes in, he's going to be next to Ferreira and he's going to dominate and he's going to keep picking up points. And now he's a Socceroo. He's flying. I'm sticking.
Fair enough.
Good.
You're a stubborn man.
Golden boot. Both of you went for Costa Barbarouses. Hate to tell you, but it ain't looking well for him.
Yeah,
and
I'm
Wanderers.
selling with no disrespect to Costa Barbarouses, but the Wanderers just, nah. So even if it costs me a lot, I'm buying Max Caputo stock right now.
Makes me nervous for Max Caputo, but I'm not selling. I'm going to stick with Costa, just to be devil's advocate here. Yeah.
And do you know what? After Cosgrove stole that second goal from Jesse Randall when it was on the line and he fired it in and took the goal, I'm sticking with the big man.
I saw your big cheer when that happened. Now it's making sense.
A lot of selling happening here. Macca, probably good picks from you.
If I could pick my shares like I pick my football, I'd be well better off.
Alrighty, well, last week, one of the interesting things we discussed was the old FIFA faces. We got Alex Brosk and Tommy Oar to react to yours. Macca, we could not find your face.
Yeah, I don't think that
It
had
was in
video
black
games
and
back
white,
then.
like the old roller.
It was like 1 pixel.
So if anyone at home can find it, send it through and we'll get him to react to it. But what we did find is 3 of your former teammates at the Mariners. I'm not going to tell you who they are. You're going to have to guess. Starting off with this bloke.
He'd be a 100-cap Socceroo, wouldn't he, by any chance?
The uniform's what gives it away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got nothing to do with what he looks like, but that kit says Matty Ryan.
It does look like Matty Ryan or the murderous Matty Ryan if it wasn't in that kit.
Jeez,
But it could have been Liam Rose or Josh Rose.
Well, exactly right, it could be.
By the way, you got the first one wrong. It was Danny Vukovic.
Oh, no way.
So, yep.
Was it?
Yep.
There is no way in the world I would have picked that Smille.
No way.
Not a hope in hell.
No.
Alrighty, let's get to the big fixture this weekend, the Big Blue. Man, looking back at it, there's so many golden moments. And let's kick it off with where it all began. Back in 2005, Allianz Stadium packed out. Who else but Dwight York to open the scoring for Sydney FC? Some of the old faces there. And it was Archie Thompson who levelled the score.
That was great. This is the best thing about this is that it was the big opening really of the league, okay? And then you got the big name comes on and scores, and then the guy who's going to be a Melbourne Victory legend, the key man for them for years to come, both get a goal, and Archie really killed that corner flag, didn't he?
The lines on the step.
I'm looking at the Reebok kits back then, and that takes me back, man. Remember when everyone had basically the same jersey?
Yeah.
There was maybe one variation. It was just the colours that
The
were
good
different.
old days.
Come a long way.
And now Melbourne Victory fans look away because we're going back to the 2010 Grand Final.
Oh, the clunk.
Kevin Muscat steps up.
Oh, listen. Oh, that sound! And I got to admit, I love that sound for so long. Yeah, Boots' reaction's great, but for so long, because I never knew Muskie off the pitch, I hated him because of the way he played on the pitch. Hated him. And that sound was always like, get that up, you Muskie. And then I met him off the pitch and you're like, he's a really nice guy. I feel bad for feeling that way for so long.
Well, it got better for Victory fans in 2015 because how about that man, Bessa Berisha, scoring an absolute banger in their 3-0 win to win the grand final. Just have a look at this one.
What a goal this was. This was absolute vintage Berisha textbook. What a finish on the biggest stage. Doesn't get any better. And look at the crowd. That was a great day for
Vintage
Victory.
A-League, really, to be honest. I hear stories about, like, people talk about this day as, like, one of the most special days. The atmosphere that was there. Do I have it right that there was, like, I think Telstra Dome, whatever it was called at that time, was booked, and everyone was a bit like, oh, well, we've got to go to Amy Park, because we can't get the bigger stadium and all that. But it turned out that going there
made it epic.
Was amazing.
That's right.
Yep.
Sydney FC had their moment in 2017. It was none other than Milos Ninkovic who scored the winning penalty for them, and the atmosphere was absolutely insane.
Well, I was in the stand for this one, in the stadium for this one because I was calling it for radio at the time before I made my big move to TV. And the atmosphere was unreal, epic. And if anyone was going to win it for him, it had to be him to get the win.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very good team. Very good team. That Arnie era of Sydney FC, I still got Barcelona ahead of them in terms of my favourite teams. But man,
only lost once,
machine.
is that right?
Yeah, I think it was to the Wanderers too. I think.
Sander, I think, scored. Sander scored. It twisted and banged one in 1-0, and that was stopped their perfect season.
Yeah.
Well, finally, this one could potentially top all of them. It's Terry Antonis, the classic. From villain to hero, scores an own goal, and just look at the time there.
Yeah, this doesn't get any better than this. And obviously, ex-Sydney FC player.
His face, man.
To go from...
Oh, man, 10 seconds to go.
What a goal too, by the way.
But that's the whole... What makes this goal so much better is that...
0 to hero.
Yeah, and Simon's call was fantastic, but to go in the last 10 seconds to concede an own goal and then to do a 60-metre run with guys dripping off your left, right and centre and do that, you got to take your hat off to him. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Simon's call there completely changed the way that I view the word forlornly. Whenever I see that in any context, it takes me back to Antonis' run. So crazy.
Jens, which moment tops it for you, though, out of all of those?
The last one for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Just the redemption arc on that was incredible.
Hard to go past it.
Yeah. I think that's all time.
Sure. Can't wait for this weekend then.
Yeah, happy days. Leichhardt will be popping. So happy days. Looking forward to that. And everything else coming up this weekend. Nalin, thanks very much for another... I hope we can get some FIFA stuff happening each week. And just especially if we can, someone's got FIFA 1873 or whatever you were on, Macca.
Yeah, I'll scrape in then. I retired in 1872.
Towards the end.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, good to have you back, Macca. We'll see you next week.